Right now at 10, Madison Metro Teamsters speak out. We'll hear from the union on what changes need to be made to improve driver safety. New sweeping tariffs are worrying investors and consumers, the impacts that could be felt at a family-run business in Madison, and creating a safe space for people on the spectrum. How one artist with autism is making a change at a nearby resort. It's all ahead on News 3 Now at 10. Well, good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke. Sarah will be back on Monday. Two Madison Metro drivers who have been attacked by passengers are speaking out at a Teamsters union press conference today. They say their injuries could have been avoided and are advocating for system-wide change. Our Maddie Heimsch reports.
Today we heard for the first time from Metro drivers who say they've been assaulted on the job. They also say Metro and the city aren't doing enough.
I was struck in the face with a coffee mug and then struck multiple times during the attack, along with suffering a concussion.
Brian Gartley was attacked by a passenger Sunday night.
While fear for my safety was immediate, so too was my concern for my passengers.
He says Metro gave him 3 days off as well as a workers' compensation package, but hasn't heard from them since. Now he's set to return to his route.
His only choice is to go back to work Friday night on the same route that he was assaulted on, and the person that assaulted him could potentially be back on that bus because he's not in jail.
Gartley is one of the 4 drivers who has faced physical assault on the job within the past 5 weeks.
The daily atmosphere with my fellow operators is a growing concern over the rapid increase in these attacks and worrying for our safety.
The Teamsters and the city of Madison are locked in wage negotiations, but the union wants safety solutions now, partnering with District 17 Alder Sabrina Madison to draft a city resolution regarding driver and passenger safety.
When an assault happens on a Metro bus, the public are also in immediate danger because of the situation.
That resolution would outline consequences for assailants, including enforced felony charges and an immediate lifetime ban from Metro Transit.
Under no circumstance should another operator or a passenger have to endure what I had to deal with.
In a joint statement released hours after the meeting, Madison Metro and the city of Madison announced they're looking to form an incident review board and increase penalties for disorderly conduct, among other initiatives to protect drivers.
Every single day, we've been putting pressure on Metro and on the city to look out for our workers.
A safe workplace, that's a right. It's not a privilege, that's a right.
Reporting in Madison, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Metro's general manager Justin Sturenberg announced he'd be stepping down from his position on Wednesday. Union representatives say Sturenberg contributed to the unsafe workplace environment. You can watch our one-on-one interview with him at channel3000.com. Well, some rain is moving across some parts of southern Wisconsin. Not everyone's going to see it. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us with more.
Yeah, Eric, it's trying really, really hard to make it to the ground in some parts of southern Wisconsin. What you see right here on radar 3000 in Dane County is likely a little bit of ground clutter, which is just the radar being very sensitive. But as I zoom on out, there are 2 areas where some of those showers may be making it to the ground here. It's battling dry air in place, as I mentioned during our earlier newscasts. Perhaps up towards the Dells, up towards Camp Douglas, seeing some of those raindrops making it to the ground, and then areas over south of 43 down by Elkhorn, perhaps a couple of raindrops. Future track showing, again, a few showers out there, trying to become a little bit more widespread. By the time we get to 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we'll let that run again. There you see it trying to get a little bit more widespread across southern Wisconsin, but amounts are not going to be very appreciable. We're talking 1/10 of an inch, maybe just enough to get your car wet, the windshield wet, and maybe the sidewalk wet as well. But we have more precipitation in the forecast after a drying out on Saturday. Temperatures where they should be for this time of year. Later on Sunday, we're going to be tracking a wintry mix and some snow showers that last into Monday morning. I'll give you a glimpse of that in a few minutes.
Alex, thank you. An update now on 2 missing boaters in the Wisconsin River. One of the boaters has been found dead. The second one is still missing. The Wisconsin Dells Police Department says a boat capsized about 4:30 yesterday afternoon just south of the Kilbourne Dam. Police say 3 people went into the water. 1 person was able to swim safely to shore. The names of the boaters have not been released at this time. Multiple rescue crews are using boats with sonar as well as using aerial and underwater drones in the search. There have been some challenges. Police say due to fast-moving currents, divers have had trouble searching for those missing boaters. A Madison woman arrested after failing to appear in Dodge County Court on Tuesday. A judge placed Janelle Hill on a $500 bond after she failed to appear in court for a review hearing. It's over a charge of reckless homicide related to an inmate's death at Waupun Correctional Institution. On June 8th of 2022, an inmate was found in his cell acting erratically. He was taken to a medical unit where he later died. Balloons filled with cocaine and fentanyl were found in his intestines. It was determined the man died from the cocaine. The inmate was Hill's boyfriend. The day before his death, surveillance video shows Hill passing something to the man. They also had been in contact with each other on cell phones. The inmate's phone was found in his cell. Hill's arraignment is scheduled for May 20th. President Trump looking to calm investors after stocks tumbled for a second day in a row. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says the sweeping new tariffs run the risk of long-term pain for the economy. Earlier today, the president took to social media urging Powell to cut interest rates and stop playing politics. Powell says the Fed needs more data on the tariffs' impact before making a move, but administration officials insist a rebound will come as American manufacturing is restored.
We're well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance.
Markets are crashing because markets are based on the stock value of companies who today are embedded in modes of production that are bad for the United States.
President Trump says he's open to negotiating with trade partners and spoke with the leader of Vietnam, where many American companies manufacture shoes, apparel, electronics, and other products. The president says Vietnam wants to cut their tariffs down to zero if they're able to make an agreement with the U.S. And the furniture and home goods industry is one that's expected to have price hikes because of the tariffs. Don's Home Furniture in Madison is family owned and prides itself for having American-made products. Even though most of the items are made here in the States, tariffs could still impact their prices.
The reason for that is there are some components of that, whether it be some of the stains and finishes that go on it, whether it be some of the hardware, the screws, the other metal components and other pieces and parts of it that actually go into building the furniture are going to be affected by the tariffs. And it won't affect our furniture as much as, say, a big box store, but it will definitely affect our furniture.
Well, it's not certain exactly how or when prices will be impacted. Don says it's important to be a smart shopper and buy now if your budget allows for it. President Trump granting another extension for TikTok to find a new buyer or face a ban in the United States. The president took to social media saying he is signing an executive order to keep the popular social media platform up and running for an additional 75 days as the U.S. continues to work with TikTok and China to close a deal. TikTok's Chinese parent company had faced a Saturday deadline to sell the app to a U.S.-based buyer to prevent it from going dark nationwide.
Now that we're at each other's throats, this trade war getting hot and getting even hotter, it really does look like TikTok might be sort of a bargaining chip of sorts. And I think that the president and the White House have always seen the platform as something as a point of leverage to extract concessions out of China.
Amazon is among the companies that have put in a bid to acquire TikTok. TikTok's parent company has previously said it has no plans to sell the app. As a similar TikTok ban deadline approached in January, frustrated users who called themselves TikTok refugees migrated to another Chinese app called RedNote. But that app has been sparking similar data privacy concerns. The Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab has been tracking activity on RedNote, and it links to state media in China. The group says there's no question RedNote is less secure.
With RedNote, that's not even a question. The data is definitely stored in China, subject to Chinese law. The CCP can get that data anytime that they wish. Another kind of consideration is if you have the app installed on your phone, like other social media apps, you know, they can track your location. They can even log your keystrokes and know what you're searching, even if you're not using the app.
The organization's report also says the Chinese government has been capitalizing on the influx of frustrated Americans, at least 700,000 in January alone, to push state propaganda. A robust jobs report for the month of March rolled out in the shadow of the escalating trade war. The Labor Department report shows the U.S. added 228,000 jobs last month, far exceeding expectations, and unemployment ticked up slightly to 4.2%. Healthcare saw strong gains, but there was no big movement in manufacturing, and federal employment declined amid the Trump administration's ongoing efforts to shrink the government payroll.
We know that announced job cuts have totaled more than 200,000, so it's going to take some time, assuming that those job cuts are sustained, for it to show up in the data.
Another technicality on those federal job cuts, workers either placed on administrative leave or receiving severance pay are still considered employed in the Labor Department's tally. April is Autism Acceptance Month, and more businesses are designing spaces for people on the spectrum. Now, one of those is at the Kalahari Water Park and Resort in the Dells. The Calming Room is something Grant Meunier says he didn't really have as a child on the spectrum. Grant is a behavioral technician at SSM Health's Treffert Studios up in Fond du Lac, where he helps neurodivergent people find a passion and express their talents.
I'm also assisting with recording, voice recording especially. I lend my voice, and I also lend my expertise to those who are also recording their own voices as well.
Now, staff say the Calming Room is the first at Kalahari, curated by people impacted like Grant. SSM Health's Treffert Center and Treffert Studios in Fond du Lac are named after Dr. Harold Treffert, best known for his work with those who are neurodivergent and on the autism spectrum. A Wisconsin artist putting the final touches on his NFL Draft Day installation. The NFL saw the work of Ike Winter online. That led to the league asking him to create 32 unique wood art pieces for the NFL draft. Winter's work is in line with the theme of this year's draft, built by community. He says the materials he used were found on the side of the road or in alleys in Milwaukee.
Being from Milwaukee and from Wisconsin has been a big part of my brand and the way I storytell my journey. So now to represent it on such a national stage is very surreal for me. I'm just beyond grateful for the opportunity.
The creations will be on display along the Draft Theater walkway. The NFL Draft, of course, takes place in Green Bay. It'll be April 24th through the 26th. 2 orphaned bob kittens from Verona are back in the wild. This after spending the last 7 months at Dane County Humane Society's Wildlife Center. When they got there, the baby bobcats were dehydrated and malnourished. They got a nutritious diet, and their caretakers wanted to keep them over the winter to make sure they were strong enough to leave. And over the past 7 months, the Wildlife Center team watched from a distance, and with the use of those video cameras, the brothers played and interacted with each other, hunted in their enclosure for food, and engaged in other wild behaviors to ensure they would be ready to return to the wild. Well, if you're a fan of all things horses and equestrian, News 3 Now hosting a giveaway perfect for you. Next weekend is the Midwest Horse Fair, and if you're interested in going, you are in luck. All you have to do is hit this link at channel3000.com, and you can win free tickets. The fair takes place at the Alliant Energy Center April 11th through the 13th. Still to come at 10, Alex tells us about our chances for snow over the coming days. And the Wisconsin Film Festival back in town. We'll take a look at some of the films on this year's lineup. That's just ahead.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
The Wisconsin Film Festival kicked off last night at the Barrymore Theater. Photojournalist Chris Hallbaker gives us a look at some of the films screening at this year's event.
No. What are you talking about?
We've got 174 movies that we've never shown before at the festival this year.
I just have a small problem, I think. I keep hearing bumps from the back, and I think this guy is still alive.
That 82 season, it was chaotic.
We've got a documentary called Just a Bit Outside, which is about the Milwaukee Brewers, which is a terrific film that was made by some UW-Madison grads.
Gone for Robin!
The town was painted blue and gold anywhere you went.
It's something people can relate to.
From movies made on the other side of the world to right across the street. Whether it's a debut filmmaker sharing their passion project for the very first time, or a beautifully restored silent film from a century ago.
Florence is a film about essentially the origins of a song. So 35 years ago, Noah Tabakin wrote the lyrics to this song. We would later go on to record that song with Little Blue Crunchy Things. It kind of became one of their most popular songs, and in a way, a kind of a regional indie hit. About to put a slug in me. And it's a fun walk down 90s music.
Anyone who wants to see a movie in at the last second, we have these rush lines, we call them. So if there's something you want to see, go see it.
There's a new Marvel out that's supposed to be nuts. We should go see that.
Who didn't love the 82 Brewers? The film festival runs until next Thursday. Well, maybe some sprinkles tonight, and snow is on the way. Alex Harrington, is that right?
Yeah, sorry. I know April Fool's Day was just a couple of days ago, and you're probably thinking, Alex, April Fool's was a couple days ago. Well, we got snow, yes, in the forecast. After some showers tonight, drying out on Saturday, we do have a wintry mix as we go into Sunday night, starting off the next work week. Let's take a look at radar 3000. A bit overdone here. This is just the radar likely being sensitive. We could have some mist or a couple of raindrops. As we zoom on out here, there's 2 areas of showers concentrated between Camp Douglas and the Dells, and then we have another area of showers just southeast along Highway 90, or 43 rather, down towards the Elkhorn area. But in between, we're kind of sandwiched in between these 2 spots here in the Dane County area and off over towards southwest Wisconsin. Future track, think of a little bit more aggressive than what we're actually seeing out there, but a few showers across the area. Best chances are now through the early morning hours. By the time we get to 6 o'clock in the morning, still cloudy skies, and the winds are going to be coming out of the northwest behind this weather system. We'll be tracking the clearing line, moving through, I think, sunshine by the end of the day, with temperatures getting up pretty close to 50 degrees. Again, amounts not going to be very appreciable with this weather system. We'll be lucky if we get a 1/10 of an inch, just enough to maybe get the sidewalk a bit on the wet side with this weather system. 50 on Saturday, those showers clear on out, bit of a breeze, and then we turn sunny. I think Sunday's the better pick, in my opinion, of the two. 51 with light winds, and then the wintry stuff comes into the forecast as we go into Sunday night. Here's how that plays out. About 4:30 in the morning, snow showers from, let's say, I-94, I-39 and north, and they sink to the south as we head towards 6 o'clock, getting to Madison, then moving through the area between 6 a.m. and about 10 a.m. on Monday. Not expecting heavy amounts of snow, but with the winds gusty and the snow coming down, there could be some briefly reduced visibilities at times. I think an inch might be a bit on the aggressive side, probably more between a dusting and a ½ inch. But once again, remember, this is April. We have green grass starting to come up, ground starting to get warm, so this would be the slushy stuff that just melts away very, very quickly. Repeat tonight, upper 30s, some showers out there. As we go on into Saturday, temperatures getting up to right around where they should be for this time of year, around 50 degrees. A couple showers again to start the day from Madison and points off towards the east. And then as we move out through the rest of the 10-day, that snowy Monday to start off, and then we warm up by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday. Eric, some showers, April showers, they bring the Mayflowers, and the temperatures near 60. That's not too bad for this time of year. So we have kind of a chilly day on Monday for a day, and that's about it for the snow.
Well, some of the precipitation has greened things up a little. We're starting to see it.
Yeah.
Now it'll all freeze to death in the snow.
Well, I hope not. We'll be mowing. We'll be mowing.
Yes, very soon. Alex, thank you.
Yeah.
Zach?
Well, and coming up in sports, the Brewers do it again. How a big-time at-bat from Bryce Terang got the crew their 4th straight win. That's next on News 3 Now. Thursday, John Blackwell announced he's putting his name in the NBA draft. Today, Nolan Winter, don't worry. He said he'll be back for another year at Madison. His sophomore season was a breakout one. Winter started every game and averaged nearly 10 points per contest. Now, he led the Badgers in rebounds and was the team's most efficient player on offense, shooting 56% from the floor. Meanwhile, Jack Janicki also announced that he's coming back for another year with Wisconsin. Now, he might have only averaged 2 points per game, but Janicki always seemed to come up big against big-time opponents for the Badgers. Think of his 9 points in 19 minutes against Arizona, or his 17 huge minutes at Purdue when he scored. More good news for Greg Gard. Austin Rapp announced that he's a Badger. The WCC Freshman of the Year averaged 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists during his lone season at Portland. The 6'10 Australian will have 3 years of eligibility as a Badger. On the women's side, South Carolina punched their ticket back to the national championship game after beating Texas. The reigning champs will more than likely face UConn, who's currently beating UCLA right now. The men's Final Four is tomorrow. You can watch those games right here on News 3 Now. Well, don't look now, but the Brewers are red hot. After starting the year with 4 straight losses, they won 3 straight. 5th inning, Crew up 1-0, and Bryce Terang says, "You rang." He blasts a 2-run bomb to center to make it a 3-0 game. Brewers win their 4th straight. They'll go for the sweep of the Reds tomorrow. Well, the all-USCHO teams were released, and Wisconsin was well represented, with Caroline Harvey, Casey O'Brien, Layla Edwards, and Kirsten Sims earning first-team nods. And Mark Johnson was named the USCHO Coach of the Year after leading the Badgers to the most wins in program history. And Alex Ovechkin skated one step closer to history. With the great one Wayne Gretzky washing, Ovechkin scored twice, tallying his 894th goal, which ties Gretzky for the most all-time. He'll have a chance to break that record on Sunday against the Islanders. We'll be right back.
And the national semifinals will tip off. It'll be Florida and Auburn just after 5 Central, followed by Houston and Duke. That'll be about 8 o'clock, give or take a few minutes. Monday night we'll be on maybe a little bit late because the championship game.
Probably a lot late.
That tips off about 8 o'clock. All the action from San Antonio you can watch all weekend long right here on WISC-TV 3. A 97-year-old, oh, there's the graphic we were waiting for. You guys are just a bit late. It was a nice looking graphic. We just had it up for a second. A 97-year-old Milwaukee area man is proving you're never too old to hit the ice. That's Gene Wagner. He's been playing hockey twice a week since he was 72 years old. He's part of the Bald Eagles Hockey Club, a 55 and over, non-competitive, non-checking. That's the key there. Pickup hockey club. They had to do non-checking because he is way too violent. Gene's been through the pandemic, of course. He had too many strokes, a loss of confidence on the ice, and a new line mate with 4 generations of his family watching rinkside. Gene says he won't get off the ice anytime soon. He's going to challenge Ovechkin's record once he sets it. Hey, we got to give a shout out to our colleague Sarah. She is running a half marathon tomorrow. Sarah Carlson. Everybody knows she's a running machine. She's running with her daughter down in Savannah tomorrow. We looked at the forecast for her. Yeah. I was scaring her. I was telling her it was going to be like 90 in Savannah, but it should be about 70 when Sarah runs that. But it might be a little sticky, you said.
Might be a little bit on the muggy side, but that's Savannah, Georgia, right?
Savannah, Georgia, this time of the year it'll do that.
Well, we don't have the muggy stuff here, but we have a little bit of
snow on the forecast.
Yeah, we have a little bit of moisture right now in the form of rain, but we do have some snow in the forecast. Once we get through our rain showers tonight, we'll be looking at a little bit of snow Monday morning, but it's going to melt quick. We'll be back to 60 by midweek.
Best of luck to Sarah. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll have highlights of Sarah's run on Monday.